All right, I just finished reading Dragon Teeth by Michael Crichton. I love Michael Crichton so much, and I started reading him in like junior high and have been obsessed with him ever since. And when he passed, it was really devastating. And since then, they've released a few books that were sort of, recovered from his hard drive, and sold kind of posthumously. And there's two of them that were sort of completed by other authors, and that's Micro and Eruption. But there were two of them, and both historical actually, that were mostly completed, and I think were just sort of touched up by an editor, but for the most part were written by him. And so I have finally read every Michael Crichton book that he himself fully wrote. And this one was a ton of fun. Now, this is a historical fiction. It's a Western, and it's like the most twisty-turny book I've ever read. It's based roughly on the real historical bone wars of the late 1800s between Othniel Marsh and Edward Cope. And they were two sort of paleontologists who were rivals and trying to dig up as many dinosaur bones as possible once they were kind of discovered. And they sort of were pioneers in the early days of paleontology, even though it didn't really end up that great for either of them. They were very famous, but they were not super successful in their own days. But this is sort of, it takes a new character that's like a fictitious character and sort of chucks him into the middle of all of this. And it's just chaos, because like this is a Western through and through. We've got like the seedy saloons and gunfights and the vast vistas and cowboys and Indians kind of stuff. This is very much a Western, and the main character just sort of gets thrown along and has to sort of survive all of this chaos happening. And you really get a sense of like how dangerous the Old West was. But this was a ton of fun. I really, 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 really loved this one. There's also a few cameos by historical people that are plausible, but probably didn't happen. But it's okay, because you don't mind, because I always love, one of my favorite things about historical fiction is when you have cameos from famous historical people sort of showing up in a story. But overall, this was a ton of fun. It's really well paced, it's brisk, it's enjoyable, and I really, really love this. Read this if you like Westerns and dinosaurs.